Who's that knocking at the door? It's all your friends, you filthy whore. Your husband's gone and we've got books and a bottle of wine to kill.
It's Hollywood.
It's books.
It's gossip.
I'm shook.
It's memoirs.
It's martinis.
It's Studio 54.
It's Celebrity Book Club. Come read it while it's hot. Celebrity Book Club. Tell your secrets, we won't talk. Celebrity Book Club. No boys are allowed. Celebrity Book Club. Say it loud and proud. Celebrity Book Club.
Buzz me in, I brought the Cuervo.
Hey, best friend!
What's up, motherfucker?
Hey, what up, you sexy homosexual who I would love to suck the ever-living gum out of?
I would love to jack off with you in the back of a school bus. Not in a gay way, just in a broing the fuck down way.
You know what I'd also like to do? I would like to hump sharks with you also in a completely heterosexual way with
I literally
you.
just want to roll around naked in a diaper with you, because that's what friendship is about. My dude, how art thou on this crazy Monday?
No, this freaking crazy Monday, and we're entering the freaking holiday season.
I'm really stressed. I'm about to go to Vermont to see my familia.
You're about to head into traffic, so when are you leaving?
Tomorrow. We're going to try and leave at noon, aka 3 p.m.
Yeah, we're going to try to beat the traffic. My husband, he's going to pick me up after work.
And his Hyundai Elantra.
And I know it's going to be hell, but look, we're going to try. Okay, all you can do is try, and I just said, let God take care of it all.
It's a little bit just like, okay, and welcome to 6 days trapped with my whole family in a small condo. But you know what? We can do it because we can do hard things. Anyway, I'm nervous about that. And then sidebar, I am recently poor and just like don't have a job and not making any money. Please sign up for our Patreon. And so I'm trying to sell all of my like designer clothes that I've accrued over the years. So I've been DMing with store James Valoria.
Former guest, Ruby
Former
McCallister.
Former
McCallister. General, I'm DMing with General McCallister.
General McC over there at James V. And I'm like DMing with the gay guys who work there. And I'm just being like, can you take like these stuff? And I was trying to like sell this Echoes blazer. Not that I don't love it. I just don't wear it that often.
Of course, totally.
And they were like, we actually can't buy that because like the Echoes store is right next to us.
Oh,
and it's
that
like
blazer.
awkward.
That blazer's cute.
And I'll reveal in next week's VIP lunch how much money I make at James Valoria selling my many clothes.
Before we get into our book, I qualified and was approved for an online focus group about vodka tomorrow.
Shut the fuck up.
From a company called YIQ.
The day before Thanksgiving, you're doing a vodka focus group. And tasting almost like poison-ass fake vodka.
Well, I'm so confused because in my day, I would go to an office, okay? And they would show me and a group of like nurses advertisements, but this is just going to be like on Zoom. Like, I know. I'm not
so you're
going...
not even going to be tasting the vodka? Are they sending you nips in the mail?
No, I wish. I know, I get like...
Oh, this is so sad. They're just going to be like, does this appeal to you? And you're watching something like live stream?
I'm sure me like watching a blurry, deep water Eddy ad. Because I had to fill this questionnaire that was like, do you buy Deep Eddy vodka once a month, 3 times a week, once every 6 months?
Sidebar, the other night at my home bar, I made a garlic and pepper martini.
Okay, that's so Russian vodka room.
It was a Russian vodka room, and I'll reveal how it tasted in the VIP lounge.
Okay, we're giving so much VIP.
We have to get
and
to
you
the
know
book.
why we're doing that? Because we're trying to get you over there. Because Stephen is out here on the corner hawking clothes.
Literally hawking wares.
I'm doing
doing focus groups.
For
we
vodka.
desperately need literally any cash flow. Please sign up for our Patreon.
Okay, someone who also desperately needs cash flow is a motherfucking crazy dude.
A rock star, legend.
Stunt master, one of the craziest motherfuckers on this planet. Steve-O.
Steve-O. You know him from Jackass. You know him from MTV. You know him from Wild Boys, the Jackass spinoff, and all the Jackass movies.
Jackass 1, Jackass 2, Jackass 3, Jackass Uncensored.
Just a real wild, antics
and crazy guy.
And we read his book, Professional Idiot.
Fuck yes.
Okay, so Lily, we have to start this episode off
with some real Jack. I mean, this is so like...
This is the most normal thing we could possibly do. We're about to shotgun 2 beers.
So
Or one beer each.
one beer each.
So, okay, is shotgunning, do you have to stab it, or can you just shotgun it by opening it?
No. So opening it is, which is
Just
probably,
drinking
is
it.
just chugging it. Shotgunning is when
you stab the side.
open end step and suck it from the side.
Oh,
but
it's- The thing is,
we do respect the whisper
we
room.
are in the whisper room, and I don't want to get it sticky. And ultimately, like, Jackass, the 35-plus years, is about just chugging a beer and not
Okay,
shotgunning.
so
So can you do this, you pussy?
Okay.
Can you actually fucking chug an entire beer?
oh yeah, I think I do. Do you want to get on all fours and ask for a dick to be entered inside of you, or do you also want to chug the beer?
No, I want to chug. I mean, I'll just be interested to see that
It
tiny
seems
mouth
like you're
suck all that
talking.
beer.
You're talking a lot because you're afraid.
No, I'm not.
You're afraid to suck a bag of dicks. Okay.
No, watch me suck this bag of
Okay,
dicks.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, fuck.
The bubbles are hurting my tongue. They're so strong.
Ah! Okay, I'm more than halfway.
It's not even that I can't keep it out. You know what I mean? Like the bubbles on the tongue, they get strong.
Okay.
Oh, Steven's a baby. He needs to be put in a diaper.
Shut up! I feel
he
nauseous.
needs-
How much is in your fucking beer?
It's
Let me
like
know.
that.
Let me feel it. Oh my god! This is like 65% full, you faggot. Don't make fun of me, you little bitch.
Oh, wait.
Shove this beer down your
Steven did
tiny
actually
mouth.
finish it.
Hi, yeah, this is the pussy department. This is Lily speaking. Yes, I'm the chief officer of being a pussy. How are you? How can we do for today?
It's taking. I have a small mouth.
Oh, we know. All right, well, I'm done because I'm actually a badass.
Okay. Do you want to do our next?
This is
triple?
literally still
Okay.
60% full. You took one more sip. All right, it's cool.
Okay, it's cool. Let's talk. I guess.
No, let's talk about the book. Let's talk about the book. So,
Anyway,
listen.
so-
You know who's not a pussy is Steve-O.
Steve-O's not a pussy.
This book, actually, let me just say this. This book is good. This book is, like, not quite as good as the My Pillow book, but it's kind of, like, up there in terms of, like, just sheer amount of shit that's packed in.
I will say I was laughing harder than the My Pillow book at this book.
Yeah. The My Pillow guy is,
it's-
like, so insane.
Right.
It's, like,
and it's not a comedy, and Steve-O's a comedian.
This is more of a comedy, and he's more just like, yeah, I don't know. It's also just so funny that he grew up rich. So the book starts out and you just like keep reading and you're like, wait,
You're
you
like, no,
fully
no.
grew up so rich. And
I was gonna at first when I second page, he's like, yeah, so my dad was the head marketing executive of Pepsi. So we moved to London, Pepsi International.
for Pepsi Europe, he's living in like London. Then he's like, and then we moved back to Toronto for 4 years, but then we moved back to London for 5 more years.
And then actually we moved to Nairobi because my dad became head of Nabisco International, and he had to oversee the pineapple farm, and actually the conditions were really
goes
bad.
to the pineapple plantation in Kenya, and he's just asked his dad. He's like, I don't know, it smelled really bad. It looked like the conditions were bad, and the dad was just
It's like, shut up. Okay.
He was like, literally, shut up. He was like, if we fire someone, someone else will be desperate to work there tomorrow. And he's like, and that's how I learned about economics.
No, he's like, and that was a lesson, and then I took all the way through my life, because then it's like he is at Jackass making no money, and he's like, you know what? Someone else would have done this.
Yeah, someone else would have. The thing is, no one else would have done the shit that he was doing because he was.
So here's the thing about Steve-O, he didn't just all of a sudden at 20 decide oh yeah, I'm just a skater and I want to do crazy tricks and I want to no, he has been a stuntman basically since birth. I mean, clearly to get the attention
pathology
of his
Okay, wait.
father.
Can we talk about something? Okay, so this book has the whole book from the very beginning. He talks about how he's just really annoying and obnoxious and desperate for attention all the time, and everything that he does is this incredibly calculated, obnoxious way to get people to look at him. And it's there's almost this trend, I feel in memoir culture, where it's you have to self-pathologize from the beginning of the book.
You have to, because you're this is my memoir.
This-
And he's been writing this book out of order, kind of. He's started writing him in one of his times in prison. So
Yeah, it's very it starts out with this letter from a Birmingham jail.
yeah, and
vibe
he's
where
being so I'm writing this from a fucking cell right now.
And I hope to one day be famous. But wait, could we just go back a second for his rich upbringing? So there's a page where he describes his insanely rich setup at the London townhouse. when they moved to the 5-story townhouse. I had quite the setup. The basement was originally designed to be the servants' quarters. So in addition to a large bedroom and a bathroom, there was also a kitchen, a laundry room, and a second bedroom that had been converted into a game room with a pool table. I had my own phone line down there and also my own separate door to the outside. So I really had to see the rest of my family only when it suited me. I'm like...
So he has this full insane,
apartment with pool table.
Blank check, fridge. You know, there's so many fridges full of Pepsi that he's chugging.
Yeah.
And he's
and other Pepsi products.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper. Diet Dr. Pepper.
Just like Frito-Lays or whatever.
Frito. I wonder if the merger happened by then.
Right.
So his father is like Mr. International. His mother is like taking to the bottle because she's also being ignored because his dad is on so many business trips. And then, of course, his sister is like Mrs. Do-Gooder who wants to work for the FBI.
And then
could she be more older sister?
Sure. I mean, she defines
I was like,
older sister. Not that that's like such a profound statement on my part, but it's like, you're right. She's so older because she's just like,
she's always like,
she's more tense. She's more professional. She has to take care of everyone when mom was drunk.
Like getting her A's, wanting to be in the FBI. And then as like later on, she's always like a journalist and she's always working for like the Fort Lauderdale Centennial.
Yeah, the Centennial. I did have this feeling like not to be so like long COVID POTS girl, but I was just like, I'm starting to get traumatized by reading a memoir every week about someone who's
been traumatized.
Someone's with like all the alcoholism in all these books, and like
I know
every single book is someone just like, and then like everyone had a stroke at 52 because they were a lifelong alcoholic.
No, he's like, and my mom had a brain aneurysm, and like we're turning her for bed sores, and we're in the hospital, and her husband is like. That was, I mean, whatever, I'll just say this part that was like, so like, I don't need to read this anymore, where it's like, and my evil stepdad would punish my mother who's in a coma and like have her diaper not get changed.
Change the diaper
and
because he was like mad at her for like gurgling at him in the wrong way.
And I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was the chapter he was like, this isn't funny, but you need to read this.
Yeah,
like, this is about my mom's aneurysm.
Well,
no, and it's important.
Elder abuse
is rife. And like, but then the sister, Cindy, was being so, no.
I'm taking care of
You're
mom.
not, because he was being like, let's get married. The evil stepdad at this point.
And
when the mom had the
aneurysm.
And you know, I liked that Cindy put her foot down.
She put her foot down.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
although I'm wondering how much money the mom had, because was she getting alimony from Pepsi Dad?
Definitely. I'm sure Pepsi Dad felt guilty and was sending her so much money. It's very clear like Pepsi Dad, because back to Steve's childhood.
It all comes back to the father.
Yeah.
I mean, hello, hi, Freud. It's just like...
This is the most like Psychology 101 book. He's like, let me light myself on fire so my dad will pay attention to me. And maybe dad will stay home if I dunk myself, roll myself in elephant shit.
Yeah.
And then again, light myself on fire. But also Steve-O was born definitely with something... They like going on.
Screw loose. Honey, it's nature and nurture.
They tested him, his heart rate when he was young, and they were like, your heart's beating like three times as fast as a normal human.
No. You have it reversed. This is so you, because this was when he did that medical study when he was in Austin, and they were like, your heart is actually beating like slower than everyone else. So you can go on this insane drug. He was like, so yeah, they paid you like according to risk, and it was pretty risky. So we each got $2,000 to do this study about a drug that had only been tested on animals that was like supposed to like make your heart beat like so fast like you could have a heart attack. And he was like, and it never like beat that fast for me because my heart's like weirdly like powerful and slow.
Right. Okay.
And then he gets robbed by his like fellow testee
in like a medical testing room. Medical testing is something I have not done. Done tons of focus groups, but not medical testing.
What Chase was telling me, my boyfriend, for listeners who aren't familiar.
Yeah.
He is actually done so much medical testing. He did something where it was like for people to learn how to do MRIs, and so he would go and have some like Ukrainian guy like give him an MRI every week.
What? That's so bad for you. That's insane.
That
wow. And he would like get in the thing and...
My boyfriend's so punk.
My boyfriend's so crazy. Just to give a little of my personal Jackass history, as we're getting into this, I loved the franchise. I love Jackass, and it came up, and Johnny Knoxville was my beard. In middle school, freshman year of high school, people said, Lily,
Who do you have a crush on?
Who do you have a crush on? And I say, oh, that hot guy on MTV, Johnny Knoxville. And I bought a Johnny Knoxville pin at Newbury Comics, and I put it on my backpack. So
Pretty cool. And you were like, yeah, I want to fuck and marry him.
Yeah, definitely marry him. And a few of the, I never did a such a Steve-O jumping off a building, but few of the things I did, chugging coffee grounds and vodka, and filming that with a few of my rascal friends in high school.
Did it work?
Get drunk, and I think it was just generally gross.
Wait, well, I have this memory of Hamilton throwing up coffee beans in the sink.
Yeah, I think we all chugged ground coffee in vodka.
I can see this image of coffee grounds in the sink.
And then I feel just me, Hamilton, and Sam Rose, and we're always just filming each other, and usually just involve me getting dirty somehow. I remember climbing just a construction mountain of dirt, already wet, and then being burrowed in it.
Remember when they put cat food in your pasta?
And that was Sam and Kelly of the band Wet, which I'll call out. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, Sam Rosen at Sam Buck. He was living with me and my mother at the time in high school. And I came home from a hard day at CSW. And and he said, Lily, I made pasta. And it was a meat sauce. And I start eating it. I'm like, ooh, yum. And then I'm like, something doesn't taste right.
Mm.
And they
kept eating.
And they kept eating, and then they start giggling hard. And they do reveal that there was cat vittles in the meat sauce. Now, inspired by that story, I brought us some cat treats.
I'll eat it. I'll eat it right now.
I'll eat it right now. So me and Steven are going to eat some cat treats in honor of Steve-O.
Let me just say, this is a very tiny treat. It's in the shape of a goldfish.
And it's specifically for dental health for cats.
It's really small. It's a little dusty. Kind of has it's giving pebble visual appearance, kind of a dark gray brown.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, let's go. Cheers.
Cheers, bitch.
Cheers.
You know what? Honestly,
doesn't taste like much.
It kind of tastes like a weird cracker that one of my one of my parents' friends is having at a holiday party.
That are left there, and there's a big tray, entertaining tray.
Yeah, I'm kind of just
a little umami bonito flake.
It's kind of actually giving seaweed a little bit.
Yeah, it's just kind of a little bit of a fishy cracker.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna wash it down with
some of the lot of beer that you have to drink left.
The fishiness is staying. So
you were pretty inspired by Jackass. You were really into it.
No, I was very into it. Saw the movie in theaters, pissing myself laughing. Not as much as Steve-O pisses so much in this book, and it's so funny.
He pisses in the stairwell of a police station when they're trying to be nice to him. He's maybe it's in London when he's in the drunk tank, and they're trying to be mate, you gotta go, get out of here. And it's 5 a.m. and he was just I'm gonna piss in this stairwell. It's just you're fucking crazy. He pisses at the
red carpet of Jackass 2, and he's with his dad.
But he's at
sister.
that point, he's really
so wasted.
Acknowledging the fact that he's I wish I could say that. I found those parts to be very vulnerable, where he's I wish I could say that I just did it because I was drunk, but I did it literally in a pathological way to get attention. In the same way he did it when he was in a hot tub at Tao with Paris Hilton. And he was I thought then then the girls wouldn't have to be in the hot tub anymore and be so objectified as women because it was now officially gross.
Saving women by doing something nasty. Well, also the pissing thing at the Jackass premiere was sad because he was I know I'll never be this famous like, this is my height being in Jackass 2. So I'm essentially pissing on the red carpet, like pissing the rest of my family away. He was like, I know I just have more random kind of like spin-offs with Dr. Drew after this.
This is what's so punk about him. Okay, I spent the night before my high school graduation in the drunk tank. I'd gotten hammered and was walking out of the pub holding a pint glass. And as I reeled back my arm to throw the pint glass at the pub just because. He's just being like, I'm just going to hurl this glass at the pub. One of my friends pointed out that there was a cop right there. And then I threw the glass anyway. As you expect, I got arrested. They locked me up till 5 o'clock in the morning, at which point they sent me home. All I needed to do was walk down this short flight of stairs and out of the police station, but I was still completely wasted. Halfway down the steps, I stopped, whipped out my dick, and pissed all over the staircase.
Another time, he has a girlfriend. He goes home to her Staten Island home, and she has a waterbed. They wake up, and they think it's the waterbed leaking, but it's like, no, he pissed the bed. And then he's like, he can't stop, and she's like, ew. So then he like is dragging the waterbed. Like,
he takes the comforter and tries to stuff it into the like washer at this like girl's parents' house. And this is, by the way, when he's already been kicked out of View of Miami, and he's just like,
for like also jumping off like too many buildings.
So then he tries to stuff it into the washing machine, but like breaks the washing machine trying to stuff it in, and then just stops halfway, passes out on the floor.
Pisses more.
Mom wakes up and there's a piss-out comforter half in a washing machine that's now broken, and this like her daughter's deadbeat boyfriend asleep.
And they still, I mean, this goes to his charm.
And then the dad tries to get him a job at like a landscaping company, and then he loses that job because he shows up hungover. It's like,
and they still like let him stay for the entire summer. They're like, well, he's charming.
God, give me the confidence of a white man.
No, the privilege. Thank
privilege.
You. Yeah, if I went and I pissed on your parents' waterbed,
the way they would absolutely still try and get you a landscaping job.
They would.
Celebrity Book Club.
People are always catching him where he's just like needle in his toes, like mid jerking off, butt asleep, like underwear
He
open.
pulls out a tooth to impress a girl in class once. Like, when this is what you're saying about how it's just like he's always been this person where he just like weirdly manifested this career where he just was doing stupid shit all the time.
Yeah, and he was
and
like,
then they somehow made a show about it. But like, he was in class, he was like, I bet I can like get out of this class, like, to some random girl. And she was like, how? He was like, by making my tooth fall out. And then he just yanks a tooth out and starts bleeding everywhere, and they send him to the doctor.
And then like with the like swimming and stuff, he's like, oh, you know what? Like, I got really into doing like crazy flips.
Yeah.
And then he just like learns how to like be a crazy diver.
And so a lot of this then, this overlaps with skateboarding culture, and he's like doing skating, and then
which I really didn't know, his parents are like, you got to do something. He's dropped out of like to a University of Albuquerque, and he goes to the Ringling College.
He goes to clown college, and he gets in, and it's extremely selective.
It's harder to get into it than Harvard. It's free.
So then he goes to clown school, he learns how to juggle and walk on stilts, and then he ends up being very stilty on Jackass.
Very stilty.
And he eventually gets a job as a clown on a cruise ship.
Carnival cruise.
On a Carnival cruise. But it sounds like he's being like so obnoxious, and like he's taking his job description to mean that he like wanders around the cruise ship like fucking with people.
Yeah, you know, and he's always like saving up for stilts and then just like fucking with people in clown makeup. The time in this book, if I can find it, that I could not stop laughing. I don't know if he was like, I would just like bike around in clown makeup, like hitting on random people, and then I would put chocolate pudding in my pants and run around Connecticut saying, sorry, can I use your bathroom? I shit myself.
In Darien, Connecticut. Another Aryan from Darien.
Yeah.
Okay, but then he, of course, pathologizes that as well. And he's like, it was always because I wanted to be someone else. Like, I took my passport photo while wearing my football uniform when he was like 7, because like I always had to be a character.
Always had to be. So he goes to clown college.
He goes on this cruise ship, and then the other 2 clowns that recruited him, who were his like fellow alums from Barnum and Bailey School, like hate him so much that they conspire to like get him fired.
So fucked up.
And so like they dock at like Miami or whatever.
They're like, you're fired.
Because this is to me what is also kind of so My Pillow Guy about this book, where it's like there are just some lines in this where you're like, go all the way off. So once the Voyager was fully constructed. This was like the largest cruise ship ever built. The whole staff rode on it across the Atlantic, Florida, where I was officially informed of my dismissal. I left the boat with $9,000 in cash. I bought a 1991 Mercury Grand Marquis, stilts, juggling gear, and a plane ticket. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he just goes to California and just like continues to be like a complete jackass.
Always on this like confidence tip, and even season 2 of Jackass, he's homeless.
Oh, another thing I love about this book is the quotes from people.
Oh, yeah. He has his sister, his dad. Like, he has his former agents who he's like, fuck them. They screwed me over by like putting their names on my life insurance policy. It's Johnny Knoxville. It's like.
And they come. So, and the way the book does it is like they're indented and they're just fully like in their own words. And I think this is like way more books should do this. I think it's like a really just brilliant formatting because he lets them speak for themselves. Obviously, it's like edited, but I'm like, I love that he's like talking shit about his sister or talking shit about himself. And then his sister comes in and just being like, yeah.
So Steve-O was completely insane at this point, and his emails like were so crazy, and like I would try to like get him committed, but I couldn't. But then they were also sweet, and the dad would just be like, you know what? I did fuck up at that time, and I should have been more around, and I did leave, and I was working for like Pepsi Nabisco for too long.
I mean, when he calls out the manager, when he's like, my managers were ultimately being shady and like wanted to take out a life insurance policy on me of which they would be the sole beneficiaries of.
And then they have a quote saying like, you know what, like we were also 23 and that was crazy of us, and like the life insurance policy. So basically they convince him to get a life insurance policy, and he says only if you can make my like my niece the sole.
Oh, okay, wait. This is what Dunlap says at that point. So when he like suddenly like the manager comes in with his quote, with his indentation. The life insurance policy meant nothing to me. It never did. The last thing I think about is to which Steve would die for a life insurance policy. To be honest, it was probably a really bad judgment to go down that path. But shit, I was 23 years old and going in as best I could. It's a little bit like, okay, so you kind of are basically admitting to being shady as fuck.
Super shady. I want to read one of his crazy stunts that he did here. By the way, his mother has had the brain aneurysm. She is home fully like
in a
coma. One day, we filled a baby pool with elephant crap that I'd spent a week collecting from the circus and putting into these huge Tupperware bins. So already that. He's going back every single day to
he's still working at the circus. I also love when he goes to the circus and like there's a quote from Knoxville just being like, we go find, when they very first meet him and they're like, he's working at a circus in St. Petersburg, across the bay from Tampa. And they're just like, it was completely out of pocket and insane. There's coke everywhere in his dressing room, and he's like being a fully scary clown where like children are running to their moms at this like Russian-run circus where they're like torturing bears.
And
in Tampa Bay.
Sidebar also, like Steve-O was like, that circus was awesome and did teach me a lot, but it was really fucked up to animals.
Oh, yeah.
And then he writes an essay for PETA, and then PETA, fuck PETA for a second. Can I just say that?
Yeah.
And then PETA doesn't use his essay because they're like, we actually got another essay from someone that was like more respectful and better and well written. And then and he's like, you know what? Whatever. All I'm trying to say is like,
no, and this is why I'm sorry, but like PETA is ultimately
it's
full
still
of
so
shit.
90s, full of elephant crap.
They're full of elephant crap because it's like PETA's not actually punk, and that's my issue with them. And that's always been my issue with them.
Wait, am I totally making this up? Has your mother like ever gotten paint thrown on her?
No, you're definitely thinking of just like a movie.
A movie, okay. Of like rich woman walking out of Macy's in a big mink.
I wish. I love the idea of my mother in her nutria fur coat.
And they're like, rich bitch.
At Macy's in downtown
Boston.
No, that's never happened, but let's make it happen.
Okay, let's make it happen.
For
so let me get back to this
75th.
elephant crap story. My original plan had been to light my whole body on fire, then do a backflip off a ladder into the pile of crap, at which point I'd roll around and put out the flames. Tremaine knew MTV wouldn't approve any fire-related skits, because a kid lit himself on fire, like after Jackass season 1, legal battles. So he suggested skipping that part, doing a backflip into the elephant shit off a tall ladder would be enough. We filmed that one in the yard at my mom's house. And then he reveals that he didn't clean it up. his sister literally is taking care of their comatose mother.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, and then there was a rainstorm the next day and
Yeah.
all the elephant shit flooded
Into
into
the neighbor's yard.
And he said one of the producers had offered to clean it up, and he was like, "Oh no, dude, you don't have to do that."
Because he's being so, I want to impress the guys and like not like spoil my chance to stay on this MTV show. So like, don't worry about it. We just cover my mom's and my neighbor's yard in elephant shit. I mean, there are times when he's a little inconsiderate. So another time is, when he's like taking care of that like dying veteran in London in his like high school years.
That really, I screamed
That was so
aloud
depressing
during that.
And then he just kind of stops going one day, and like the 90-year-old guy's leaving so many messages being like, "Can you please come take me to my like doctor appointment?"
He has a cataract surgery appointment.
And then he just goes, "I don't know whatever happened to that guy." It's like, he died.
That's
he
what
died,
happened.
babe. He was 92 and needed surgery, and he died.
He died that day.
He literally died because you didn't go.
And he was just like, delete.
Delete his like voicemails on his big 90s
Yeah,
answering machine.
his big Richie Rich blank check. So, but at least he's admitting that.
No.
Sorry,
Sorry, he's
Demi Lovato's mom.
No, Demi Lovato's mom, who's not telling us the full truth. He is being very honest, Mom.
I was kind of surprised by this a little bit. Like he, is very clear about how much he got paid for Jackass. Very low.
Well, the first season, he got paid like $1,500 for the entire season.
Right, which they didn't know was going to happen to that
But then
show.
the second season gets $2,000 an episode, which is still astronomically low.
Yeah, for what they're doing.
Yeah. And then he's getting
Then they
more
get, like,
it
more
sounds
money.
like he's getting most of the money, though, from the live shows.
The tours.
And they were doing these, like, messy boots tours.
Insane tours where they were just, like, again, like, lighting each other on fire and doing flips, and like he was always like stapling his ass together,
and then like pulling out like a cobra snake like on stage, like a insanely venomous cobra that could like kill everyone, and just like with not even a snake trainer, and he's like on coke, ketamine, pills,
drinking
like insanely wasted. The time when he's like, "Oh, I don't want to do an IV of vodka," and he does like 6 shots via IV. And then does
he goes,
more shots?
And he's like, yeah, so then I'm on stilts and I walk back into the hotel bar and I get more Grey Goose to put in the IV.
He fucks a lot of girls. Okay, wait, can we talk about
Let's talk
him
about
and
his
Pontius?
and I was going to say him and Paris and Nicole.
Okay, I do want to get there, but hello, the scene when him and Pontius, so Chris Pontius, who he always calls Pontius, who he does Wild Boys, the spinoff where they like travel the globe, and it really taught him a lot about other cultures.
Right, he's like, whoa, like it's really crazy. Like I learned so much about the world.
Honestly, and it is beautiful.
And that was also the era when Cameron Diaz had her show Trippin'.
And it was Anthony Bourdain, and it was about just like, colonialism. But I do think there was such a fun, what was great about that show, and about Jackass also, which I do think is an amazing show. But there's a real...
Did you ever watch?
I watched it today.
Oh, okay. For the first time?
No, I'd seen it, but I'd forgotten how, like...
Oh, did you watch it while getting fucked by a guy?
No, because I'm not gay, because that's gay. That shows...
Were you, scared to watch it, when we were in high school?
All right, back it all the way up.
No, it sounded like you were super
You're
scared.
literally, babe, you've already proven yourself to be the hugest poser. You can't even shotgun 40% of a beer.
Sorry, I have an abnormally small mouth, okay? That's because I've done too many tricks, and I've had to get surgery
to make
getting
your
my
mouth smaller.
Sucked in because it got too enlarged from sucking on elephant trunk.
It's a really good show, and it's like
pretty funny stuff.
It's raw, it's funny. Like you just get a sense of there's a sort of relentless positivity to it in its nihilism.
I love this. Actually, it feels very my mother right now. What you're saying, just watching Jackass at the front, you're like, I mean, the positivity is beautiful. I mean, we have so much negativity these days, and the positivity of watching Jackass it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful vision of nihilistic self-destructive masculinity that actually isn't self-destructive because it's about community and joy, I think, at the end of the day. And I think that the show Wild Boys...
A.O. Scott has entered the building. The community aspect is so beautiful, and our boys today need that.
They desperately need it.
They do.
We are so alienated as a society, and we are so
with
atomized.
Our video games.
Our phones.
And video games. Okay, so the best part, one of my favorite parts about this book is Steve-O. Hold on. Thread needles later. is Steve-O talking about like obviously like all the jerking off they did together and how he was like, yeah, one of our challenges was how many times can you jerk off in a car with the most packed amount of guys in a car.
They're in the backseat. They're on a race from London to Russia, which, by the way, tell me how they drive from London to mainland
Europe.
And
he's like, yeah, I actually only came 4 times in like 4 days because like he's like, and I'm tugging at my dick constantly.
And him and Pontius are in the backseat just both jacking off
But
together.
he's like, it's really actually hard to like come because like, but then he basically says something beautiful, I thought.
What?
Where he's like, a lot of people like thought maybe like we were being homophobic, but actually so many teen boys of that age like were so uncomfortable about seeing guys hook up. So he's like, I actually think Jackass did more to fight homophobia than like any other show because he was like, yeah, we were basically constantly hooking up on that show.
I agree. Well, then there is the scene though when he then kisses Chris's dick.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I know you've all wanted. Okay, so they're in Russia. And he's like, I wanted some shocking footage to contribute to this venture, and with my brain swimming in vodka, a plan was hatched. Pontius got naked, and I addressed the camera. Let's face it, all Wild Boys has been is an agonizing wait to see this happen. Then I lifted Pontius's wiener with my fingers and planted a kiss right on the head of his dick. So there it is, I continued, looking at the camera. Now you've seen it, so now it's over. Okay, but I'm saying, like, all he does is kiss the head of the dick.
I think this is him reflecting later because then
I'm like, why don't you suck his
he
dick?
avoids when they're in India and they're doing like a Kama Sutra lesson, which is so 90s. And then he like avoids doing like the entire shoot because he's like still so embarrassed that he kissed his friend's dick.
And you remember the car up, I feel like in one of the Jackass movies when they stick the car up his ass, it's Ryan Dunn.
Yeah.
One of the most incredible like scenes in a movie. I feel like I remember seeing that in the theater. I mean, like, this is really funny. And like the doctor is just being like, how
did you
do this? And Steve-O was like, they asked Steve-O to do that stunt, he wouldn't do it because he was like, I don't stick things up my ass because he's being homophobic, which makes me think that he is a little bit gay.
I mean, the whole thing where he talks about how he does like get a blowjob from a trans woman, which she says in some other more kind of offensive language. And then it's just, he's like, no, but like literally, like actually, like she was more femme than like some of the other cis chicks I've like gotten blowjobs from. And it's like, sounds like
he doesn't say cis in this book.
I was doing a joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, the scene where
I think he like liked it and was like, I would do that more.
Yeah, dude, a mouth is a mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, when he walks in on Chris has just fucked that girl and then he fucks the girl and he's like, yeah, and I got her and she was covered in his cum and like then I fucked her. And I was like, that's a level of like broing down that is kind of, have you ever, I mean, I guess I know the answer to this question. You've never had a moment like that with one of your bros?
Yeah, I guess. Well, wait, but I have.
What?
Oh, where we're like both hooking up?
With the same person or something like that? Like at the same time or same night or something?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
You've been milk sisters with someone.
Yeah. I'm saying I've been in the room with one of my bros while they've been
that time
sexually.
that I got a blowjob while you were there and you didn't know. Because there was that one time me and Friend of the Pod Daniel did fuck cousins on the same night.
Right, but not in the same room.
No, but in bedrooms that shared a wall.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, you know, carry the two.
Daniel's gay.
Daniel's gay.
Yeah. No, I think Steve-O in this way where he's reflecting back on things. It's like at the time, I think he was very afraid of being perceived gay. And then he's like looking back being like, no, I actually think it was cool that like we did everything but full anal sex.
You know what is funny though? How he's always calling flight attendants faggots.
Oh, yeah.
He's always completely wasted on a plane.
I just had it. On the plane, the flight attendant took the bottle away from me, and I made a drunken scene screaming at him and calling him a faggot. Knoxville slunk down in his seat next to me, mortified. Also, another time, like, Johnny Knoxville is trying to be so the woke guy next to Steve-O, where, like, this time where Steve-O's going to have a photo shoot with like Terry Richardson, and Steve-O's being silly. So there's this photographer, Terry Richardson. He does really sexual photo shoots. And he's like, yeah, so I think I'm going to be pointing a gun at a girl while coming in her mouth. And then Johnny Knoxville's like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. Meanwhile, though, Johnny Knoxville
asked him to do the shoot. This is the thing about Knoxville is he's being like, yo, we're doing a bukkake shoot with Terry. Like, we're short a couple cocks. Like, you want to come through? And then he comes through. He's like, yeah, so you're just going to get head with this girl and then some other guy's going to point a gun at her head. And Knoxville's like, I'm totally not doing this.
He's like, that's wrong.
That's totally wrong. It's like, you did literally call up your friend and ask him to participate in this shoot. But I will say, I think Knoxville is a stand-up guy.
Yeah. Have you seen him on Family Feud recently? Hilarious.
I think he's
really
hilarious
fun
and
family
sweet.
Guy.
And like this. So in this book, like later in the book, like Steve-O really gets in a bad place. He needs to be taken to like a psychiatric ward. He's like threatening to kill himself in like
and kill everyone and like emailing his dad, like insane
just
things.
Being psycho. And Johnny comes to his house and does the intervention and puts him in a car and like takes him to the psychiatric ward. And Johnny is just being this really kind of like, and you know, Johnny went for it on the show. He was always doing the most violent stunts, but
I do wonder where it's like Johnny Knoxville did all those kind of same things and Steve-O just took what Johnny Knoxville did. Like, you know, he was a little more the sidekick where it's like Johnny Knoxville was crazy, but Steve-O was doing everything else times a million.
I think Johnny Knoxville is just more confident and doesn't have the same issues. This paired also with Jessica Simpson's
No, I know, I was going to say.
Like, narrative about Johnny, which he kind of comes off pretty good in that book, too.
Yeah.
Like, where they're having this, like, emotional affair after shooting the Dukes of Hazzard, but they never consummate it. But she keeps just being like, he actually was just, like, really thoughtful and a good guy and, like, made me
because I was kind of waiting for something where he was like, no, I did feel like Johnny got all this money and this or something like that. And it's like, no. And, you know, Johnny Knoxville... Oh, I think I was like stayed also married to like the same woman. I could be wrong. Maybe they're recently divorced. Because, you know, he's bought friend of the pod, Alex's Sculptures. So he loves lesbian ceramics.
Wait, that is fucking...
For his wife.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. All right, we got to move
We have to move on. And just before we go to segments, one insane blowjob story before we go, where he talks about how he got a blowjob from this girl and... midway through the blowjob, she took off her dentures and said, get ready to have your mind blown.
And then he tells all his friends, he was like, it wasn't a Hummer, it was a Gummer.
Celebrity Book Club.
Segment Gummers. What does she wear? What does she wear?
How does she live? What does he wear?
I mean, he's so thick black eyeglasses.
Well, I guess
what's
his style
jeans.
now? Because isn't his style now kind of like? Is he sober?
Just like post rockabilly sober.
Post rockabilly sober. So he's like, small fedora.
He's not fedora. I was watching this video. Like he just has like thick retro rockabilly glasses, like black band tee. Like dark jeans, Converse fans. I watched this video where he was like driving to Vegas to do something.
Do you think he's wearing like a 3-piece suit at a formal event or no?
I think he's more just like skinny suit. I don't think he's vest.
And skinny tie, okay.
Yeah. He was like outfitting a Tesla to go like do something crazy in Vegas.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sober Tesla
I know it's like
stuff.
That's so sober tatted stuff where he's like, I'm about to do a crazy trick in my Tesla.
Sober tatted Tesla.
What does she eat? Well, at some point he does go vegetarian in this book, but I think that's
he's very like I will say he doesn't really talk about food a lot. I don't think he has like a very positive or negative relationship with food. I think like he's always had like a great body, I feel.
No, it's insane. In the photos when he is like in high school, he is a 6-pack.
He's got that just like I'm a punk 6-pack where
and
it's
I'm
like
a skater and I'm doing so many tricks and flips. So it's like
because like the other, I would say him and Johnny Knoxville maybe have the best bodies in the whole Jackass crew. Like Bam Margera doesn't. Like Chris Pontius like has a little bit of a gut in like a fun, sexy way, but like
no, because I mean, here's the thing: even though they're like punks, like they are being athletes. Like it is an athletic sport.
It's an athletic sport, but he's definitely super. I just don't think he eats that much.
I think he's like protein. I think he's just kind of like chicken, you know?
Now he's being so chicken. I'm sure he does eat chicken.
It's like chicken, avocado. he's like, oh, this is a dope teriyaki poke chicken bowl.
Yeah, I guess I don't see him being so I need to go.
I think he needs to fuel up,
I
though,
think as
for his...
foodie as he gets is probably going to a dope pizzeria. That's like very...
I'm saying he's more... It's not about being foodie, but I'm saying
I don't think he's foodie. I'm saying as foodie as he gets, as he goes to like a cool, badass pizzeria that's like wood-fired, and he's like... It's like very like he's going to the Robertas of whatever.
But I was saying that I think he's being more like dope sauce about a random kind of Cali style... I think he's a little more tacos than pizza because it's more protein. Like, I think he's having, like, he's a little more hot sauce. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think he cares even. I don't even think he's telling his friends about, like, a cool taco spot. I think he would
rather cool tacos than a cool pizzeria. And I'll die on that monster on that hill.
Well, I won't die on the hill. And you are a monster on the hill, and I am a sexy baby.
I just don't think he's less dairy, you know?
There's cheese also, like, on most tacos.
Okay, most not authentico tacos.
Like, and burritos. The point is, he's not a foodie. I think that how does he live? I'm gonna say that he's not so Anthony Kiedis where he's still like plunge pool and Buddha, but like...
No, because I also still don't know like how much money he has at this point. Like he definitely has more. I think it's like he is a little more like tech gadget. Like I think he does like things that like happen easily, like a cool speaker, and like I feel like he's kind of just like, oh, check out my new air fryer. Not even because he's like foodie, but again because he's like, yeah, I can actually make like boneless sriracha wings in these in 2 minutes.
No, I don't think that he's air fryer, but I would bet you
I'll
stake my life on it that he doesn't have an air fryer.
Okay. But I'll bet you a bag of cat treats he has an air fryer.
I do think it's like a little messy, and I know this is rude. Maybe it's not. Okay, my first thought was
he has that much stuff. Like I think it's like he like has
you're right. He doesn't have shit. He's got like an empty house.
It's like empty house. There is a TV. There's a sound bar.
Yeah.
And like he has a Tesla. And an air fryer.
And he's had a girlfriend for the past, like, year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, she's younger. Excuse me.
Yeah.
The bonito flakes are... Yeah,
I finally finished her beer. Ladies and
beer.
gentlemen, she finally finished her little bitch pussy-ass beer.
I'm moving on to the man's drink. Water.
I do ultimately think that his bed is low.
I think his bed is absolutely
okay,
low.
What's interesting about him is that he has a small dick. And he has a tattoo that says, I have a small wiener. But
Well, that's so him. Again,
him.
He has to do all these pranks.
I wonder what he thinks. Where it's like, because I was thinking about this when he admits to having a small dick. I'm like, what does a straight guy think is a small dick? Because straight guys like only see each other's like random flaccid dicks and they're not like sucking so many hard dicks.
Well, then he had that comment about how like, you want to make your dick look big on TV, but not too big because if you got full, if you got fully hard
about the kissing scene, because he was like, if you get fully hard, it looks you like it, but like you don't want it to look small. I kind of think that his dick is maybe not as small as he thinks it is. I feel like it's
thick.
I don't think it's thick at all. That's what I don't think.
Thick and small.
I think it's on a normal girth, but I also think it's normal length. I think it's 6 and normal.
No, I think it's 4. He's seen a million dicks in his life. Like dicks around him.
But he doesn't see them hard.
But
babe. This is why I'm saying straight guys don't really have a concept of how big a hard dick is.
Yeah, but I think they're always like fucking in the same room. I think he's seen Johnny Knoxville hard. And they're showing each other photos. Like it's Johnny Knoxville being like, this is me fucking.
I don't think you can really know how big a dick is until it's in your throat.
But I feel like they're always like next to each other, like strippers, deep throating.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think it's 4, and I actually want to go back to the house.
It's not 4.
I think absolutely.
No one's dick is 4. It's 5.5.
No one's dick is 4.
If your dick is 4, you're not even talking about your dick. You don't have a book.
You don't even make a joke called "My dick is small."
I don't know. I just this was interesting because I feel like gay guys basically, if you have a small dick, you don't ever talk about your dick, like, or you pretend it's big, but you would never say it's small. You know what I mean? And that's why it's like I wonder if it's the same thing with straight guys. I'm just like, is it actually small?
Huh. Okay, I'm sure we can find a photo of it.
Sure we can.
Also, I think the most stuff in his room in his house is his office because I feel like he is so like video editing, and I think there's like a Peloton in there, and I think he's Peloton.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's Sober Tatted Chef. And I think he's like, have you ever fucking done like Cindy's ride? It's actually fucking crazy. And it's crazier than some of the shit I've done in my life.
Maybe you're right. Sober Tatted Chef has a Peloton. Or does he have the Peloton rowing machine?
That's too random. Why would he get the rowing machine to like flip off of?
Yeah, because it's more flippy. I just think that he's like, I don't know if he has the non-ADHD for that. Like
But Peloton is so like you're going fast, like it's a class. This is
you're going fast. It's a class.
Quote someone who's never been on a Peloton.
They should put that in their new ad. All right.
Okay, who are you in the book?
Interesting. Okay, he is a Gemini, and I did kind of sometimes like identify with his absolute like mania.
But like you're also a little bit of like you're Pepsi dad. You're a little bit Pepsi dad.
I'm a little bit
and
older
you're like,
sister, like reporter.
Yeah, who wants to be in the FBI? That's so you.
And just like begrudgingly like doing the bed sore changing. Yeah.
I don't know if you're begrudgingly bed sore changing.
No,
I think you're more FBI like Tampa Gazette sister. You're the Tampa Gazette sister. And I mean, I'm not Steve-O. I feel like I'm definitely like one of his like friends who's less crazy.
Less crazy friends. You're one of wait. This was also so rich.
You know who I am? His like that girl that thinks he's so dope that like runs his email chain called like Steve's Rad Emails or something.
Yeah. You're running his email listserv into the ground. Okay, it was so rich when he was like, I loved my my stepmom because she taught me Arabic and then I could impress my Kuwaiti friends with it.
That's who you are. You're his Arabic stepmom, Sophia.
Who's just like being fat. There's a quote from her just being like, I like Steve.
I like Steve. He was my friend. Ted was hard on him. And I was like, oh, there's vibes. Did you guys hook up?
He's like fucking everyone in this book. But that's because he has a six-pack and he's famous.
Maybe that's 6.
And that's giving 5.5. All right, listen. I give this book, honestly, 4 out of 5, like, shopping carts full of baby shit.
I give this,
that are getting flown into a pool.
Honestly, 4 Tupperwares full of elephant shit out of 5 Tupperwares. It's a wild ride.
It's a wild ride. It's surprisingly literate. It's fun, you know.
It's vulnerable. Again, we love when a book is vulnerable. You're going to learn a lot.
He talks about other celebrities. Talks about Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie.
Should we get into it? He like talks about how like
Kilmer, Henry Rollins. He's like, I hate Henry Rollins.
He apologizes to Nicole Richie for not denying that they were dating.
Yeah, which is a little random and cucked of him. I'm like, she doesn't care, babe. She's not reading this.
I know. And he's like, she never forgave me. So Nicole, if you're out there, like, because I remember when that happened, he was like, yeah, we're dating. And then she was pissed. Yeah. So.
And then even in the book, he's like, and I really struggle with whether or not I should put this in the book. And it's like, girl, it sounds like you're really hung up on this.
And that's why the house is small, because,
he
does need that.
And that's why I don't think there's a Peloton in this small, like.
Thought you just did agree that there was a Peloton.
I'm taking it back. It's a 2-bedroom in like Santa Alameda, and I don't think there's a Peloton in there.
Okay, so there's just a random, there's a D-list Peloton.
I don't think there's an exercise machine.
You don't think he's after paying a Peloton? All right. Steve and I are going to continue this conversation on the street. We're going to flip for it.
Thank you, kids. Do not try any of this at home.
Absolutely. Or freaking do. Okay. Well, send us any like videos of your tricks. We're going to be posting some more tricks online when I have a phone.
Best.
Celebrity Book Club is presented by Prologue Projects. The show is produced by Benjamin Frisch, with editorial support from Leon Nafok, Andrew Parsons, Arlene Arevalo, and Madeline Kaplan. Our production manager is Percia Verlin. Original theme song by Stephen Phillips Horst. Artwork by Teddy Blanks at Chips NY. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CBC The Pod. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Leave us a review, and don't forget to tell your friends well, about us. And don't forget to go to patreon.com for access to the VIP Lounge, our exclusive bonus podcast.